Coming up this week on Montclair News Lab. Why are people walking around this New Jersey town holding their noses?
So potent at times that it even comes through the doors and the windows.
One former New Jersey priest tells us how he became a victim of the sexual scandal within his own church.
The sexual assault of children in the Catholic Church is the greatest crisis since the Reformation.
And a bit later, we get an update from our friends at the Montclarian.
The Montclarian is a student-run news organization, and it's multi-platform where we cover all campus news related to Montclair State.
All that and more live from the School of Communications and Media at Montclair State University. This is Montclair News Lab.
Hello, and welcome to the Montclair News Lab. From the School of Communication and Media, I'm James Coffey.
And I'm Melinda DePasquale. Each week, we scour campus, Montclair, and New Jersey to bring you news and stories we'll be talking about all week.
We start today with the Montclair News Lab investigation. It follows a sickening smell invading parts of the nearby town of Kearney. Reporter Amanda Eustace has been looking into this stinky problem.
Welcome to Kearney, New Jersey. This ethically diverse town has a variety of restaurants and shops. It's filled with hardworking, middle-class people. While many residents take pride in their town, they will also tell you, it stinks.
So potent at times that it even comes through the doors and the windows.
Residents and town officials say the smell is coming from the Keegan landfill in the southeast part of town. The 100-plus acre site is operated by the state-owned New Jersey Sports Exposition Authority, which helps municipalities redevelop landfill sites. Longtime Mayor Alberto Santos agreed to the deal to convert the landfill to a sports complex.
If I can go back and change one decision, it would be this one, and not believe them when they came to us and say, we're going to make this into a recreational complex you can be proud of.
Santos posted this video from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection on Facebook earlier this year. It shows liquid sewage sludge illegally being dumped in July of 2018. Spokesperson Brian Aberbach from the New Jersey Sports Exposition Authority said in a statement to Montclair News Lab, the mayor is wrong. There is no illegal dumping at the landfill, contrary to the mayor's allegations. There have also been no violations issued to the NJSEA regarding odors. There are multiple potential sources of odors in the area surrounding the Keegan landfill. The NJSEA is working hard to find the cause of the smells and address them. But the mayor says there was illegal dumping and he's charging fraud.
They mischaracterized it in the log, so they called it a permitted waste when it wasn't. So there was fraud at all sorts of different levels.
Hudson Regional Health Commission set up a hotline for residents to complain. More than 80 complaints have been logged. The commission also installed a hydrogen sulfide meter to monitor the site. Kearney has also installed 2 meters to log the information for the town. The mayor says in excess, hydrogen sulfide is bad for you.
It can start having impacts on your ears, nose, and throat. And if you have respiratory problems, like as people who have asthma, once you hit 30 parts per billion, then you could have impacts.
John Hay Avenue in Kearney is one of the streets that's been most affected by the smell. Right down the street from me lies the landfill, less than a mile away. I spoke to a resident in this house, and she says, enough is enough.
We need to find some answers out, and we need to push as a community, and our leaders need to do as they're supposed to.
Emily Pinto lives across the street from Elaine Birdie. Elaine has lived on the street for over 50 years. She says she's not sure what to do anymore.
My kids are telling me to sell my house, that this is an impossible situation. I mean, going down the street, they have the landfill going up to 100 feet right now. And we used to see the New York skyline from my street.
Mayor Santos says the state owns it and they need to fix it.
Residents in Kearney won't stop until it stops. So they're going to keep calling. We're going to keep publicizing it.
Residents are still left with the smell of rotten eggs, no recreational fields, and very few answers. From Montclair News Lab, this is Amanda Eustace.
William Patterson pays $800,000 to the family of a student who took her own life. The university settled the complaint filed by the mother of student Sherelle Giovanna Locklear. Locklear committed suicide back in November of 2015, just a month after telling campus officials she was raped at a frat party. The lawsuit claims that the university failed to investigate the student's reported rape. The university, however, admits no wrongdoing.
Montclair State's newspaper, The Montclarian, is always in a state of buzz getting ready for their next issue. This week, they walk us through a staff meeting.
Welcome to The Montclarian. My name is Haley Wells. I'm the editor-in-chief. The Montclarian is a student-run news organization, and it's multi-platform, where we cover all campus news related to Montclair State. Here's my team.
Hi, my name is Heather Berzak, and I'm the news editor. We report news on campus, we localize national stories, and if there's anything breaking, we're there to report it.
Hi, I'm Thomas Neer, and I'm the entertainment editor. In the entertainment section, we do a lot of movie reviews, album reviews, television reviews, but we also cover a lot of on-campus events.
Hi, I'm Anthony Gabinelli, and I'm the sports editor of the Montclarian. And I'm Anthony Gabinelli, and I'm the sports editor of the Montclarian. And we cover all the Montclair State sports here. We also do player profiles. We also do sports features. And we're the Montclarian crew.
The Catholic Church's sexual abuse crisis appears to be widening every day. With new victims speaking out, Montclair News Lab reporter Antonio Giancastro sits down with a victim, a former priest who has spent decades trying to end the sexual abuse in his church.
It was a revelation that had Cardinal Joseph Tobin begging for forgiveness.
The revelations over the course of the summer have turned the Archdiocese of Newark upside down.
On February 13th, Roman Catholic bishops in New Jersey released a list identifying nearly 200 clergy members responsible for sexually abusing children. This list provides the most shocking and in-depth view of the scandal that has been concealed behind closed doors for decades. Former Catholic priest Dr. Robert Hodson has been an outspoken advocate against sexual assault in the Catholic Church.
The sexual assault of children in the Catholic Church is the greatest crisis since the Reformation, and it will create incredible amount of change.
Hodson was granted voluntary removal from the priesthood by the Vatican in 2011 after he began working to expose clergy sexual abuse cases, an issue that has affected him personally.
I am a clergy sexual abuse survivor from about the age of 10. My first superior said to me, "Bob, you are a cold person. I'm going to have to warm you up."
Former Cardinal Theodore Edgar McCarrick, at one point the Archbishop of Washington, D.C., was defrocked by the Vatican after the investigation confirmed he sexually assaulted and exposed himself to children ranging in ages from 3 to 14. Hodson, however, already knew this.
He ordained me in 1997, and he asked me to speak to one of the other priests of the diocese who could tell me about the seminary, and my first question to him was, has McCarrick stopped sleeping with the seminarians? And unfortunately, he used the ploy that there was always one bed short at the Jersey Shore house.
Alexandra Crescembeni, a longtime member of the Catholic Church, was stunned by the news.
It's just very disturbing to know like a pastor will do such a thing to children at a very young age.
Yet, she remains rooted in her faith and in her parish.
No, I never lost trust in my pastor, so I would never believe my pastor would do such a thing.
Catholics around the world are scrambling for answers and continue to look to Pope Francis for guidance. In the meantime, the Catholic Church continues to live in the shadow of this scandal. This is Montclair State student Antonio Giancastro.
I sat down with religion and global politics professor John Sabosley to get some insight on the sexual abuse scandal in the Catholic Church.
Well, it's surprising for certain, and the numbers that have been coming out are really shocking across the world, not just in the U.S., but of course in the Northeast specifically. The numbers have been higher than anyone would have guessed, even though this scandal has been going on for a number of decades now.
So you say that the numbers are increasing. Do you think that the church has been doing anything about it to stop this from happening?
It's hard to say, and it's hard to know if the increasing numbers are a product of more abuse cases or more transparency when it comes to abuse. The church has been addressing it since 2002, but the question of what steps they have taken and if those steps are enough are certainly open to interpretation.
And I know that you said that the church has been speaking out about it, but people have been criticizing them for not speaking out enough. So what would you say the church should do in order to inform the public, inform their parishioners about what's been going on and how they can fix it?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not my place to offer advice to the Catholic Church. I will say that what I've heard from people who are commenting on it is a greater need for not only accountability by the bishops and priests who have been accused, but greater transparency within the church, not only avoiding shuffling priests around, priests who have allegations against them, but also bringing that to the civil authorities and just in general trying to create a more participatory medium throughout all facets of the church.
So what are your thoughts on why the people targeted are minors and young children?
It's really difficult to say. The sexual abuse throughout the Catholic Church isn't limited to minors. In fact, many nuns have been coming out in recent years alleging abuse for years at the hands of priests. So the aspect of pedophilia is difficult to understand. I know some have attributed it to celibacy, the forced celibacy of the Roman Catholic Church. There doesn't seem to be a clear correlation between not having sexual relations and having sex with children. These are different things, and it often misconstrues rape as an issue of sex rather than an issue of power. And that's been another one of the things that people have pointed to, the inherent hierarchy of the Catholic Church, giving these men a way to gain close access to minors under a shroud of secrecy where no one really questions their motives.
I know that you said power, and a lot with the church is children and their parishioners trusting the priests. Mm-hmm. So do you think that kind of goes towards why this has been happening and why a lot of children might not be speaking up about it, because maybe they trust their priests?
Yeah,
too much?
I think that's definitely the case, and having to qualify it as too much now is a real part of the harm that's been done to the Catholic Church by these priests. And I do think it played a role in why so, if not few cases came to light, nothing like the numbers that we're seeing today did, because it was considered a private matter. These are people that were trusted by families to take care of their children and given greater access to children than most other spheres outside of things like athletics, which has had its own scandals in recent years.
So I know you said that it's been coming to light a lot more now. Why do you think that is? Why do you think more people are speaking out about what has happened to them?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and it's hard to pinpoint one specific variable, but I think in part the demand for greater transparency across all facets of our lives, especially in the 21st century, has brought it to light. There's also been a kind of limitation of the authority of the church, where once it was seen as kind of all-encompassing, now church is just one aspect of a broader life, and people aren't willing to allow certain things to go unspoken of in the same way that it was. And I think just more recognition that these things have been happening allows survivors to say, okay, I feel comfortable now saying that this happened to me too.
That was Professor John Sabosley. We will continue to follow the story.
Finally today, each week Professor Tom Franklin's multimedia students at Montclair State University send us a photo of the week. This week it comes from junior Michael Konopka. The photo was taken in New York City. I have to be honest, I thought this love sign was only in Philadelphia.
You know they have them in a bunch of different places?
Yeah, no, I had no idea.
There's one that says Amore or something.
Because we got the email and I was like, why are they saying this is taken in New York City?
But it's a cute photo, so good for the couple.
Thank you for joining us here at the Montclair News Lab. I'm James Coffey.
And I'm Melinda D. Pasquale. Follow us on social media, Twitter at MSU News Lab, Instagram Montclair News Lab, and Facebook at Montclair News Lab.
You can also watch and catch up with us on our website, montclairnewslab.tv.
Yeah. That stuff.